Okay, so this CERN story you guys sent,
Yeah.
this is a wild one.
It's,
We're not talking about, like, the Higgs boson or any of the stuff you usually hear about with CERN.
right.
This is about, like, alternate dimensions
Mm.
and secret government projects and, like, a vanishing physicist.
And what makes this even more intriguing is our source.
Yeah.
We have this audio recording
Right.
from a certain physicist
Right.
named Dr. Edward Mantell,
Okay.
who claims he's breaking some serious secrecy laws to get this information out.
Yeah, Mantell's basically saying that CERN isn't just smashing particles together.
Right.
They're trying to open a doorway to another dimension.
Yeah.
And something went very wrong in January 2014.
Hmm.
He lays it all out in this recording.
Right off the bat, Mantell introduces this book and universes concept.
Okay.
He says our universe is just one page,
Okay.
and other dimensions are like other pages.
Okay.
And normally they can't interact.
It's a cool image, but is there any, like, actual science behind that?
Yeah.
I mean, are there physics theories that suggest other dimensions could exist like that?
Yeah, the idea of a multiverse where our universe is just one of many has been around for a while.
Right.
Like string theory, for example,
Okay.
proposes the existence of extraspatial dimensions beyond the three that we experience.
Right.
So theoretically, other dimensions could exist, but whether we could actually access them
Right.
is another question entirely.
And Mantell claims that governments have been trying to answer that question for decades.
Mhm.
He says back in the 1960s, all those UFO sightings,
Right,
they really spooked governments, and they started taking interdimensional travel seriously
right.
as a possible explanation.
Yeah, and according to Mantell, this led to the doorway theory in the 1980s,
Okay.
which is the idea that if you could concentrate enough energy,
Right.
you could rip a hole in the fabric of space-time and create a portal.
Okay, hold on. Are we talking about actual, like, funded research projects here, or are we going into, like, tinfoil hat territory?
That's where Mantell's story gets a little fuzzy.
Okay.
He claims that the doorway theory went from a fringe idea to a funded covert operation,
Mm-hmm.
but he's light on specifics.
Okay.
He claims that CERN's real agenda isn't just studying the universe's origins.
Right.
It's about opening a dimensional door.
And to make it even more cloak and dagger, he says there's this group called the Family,
Yeah.
a secret society of scientists who have been running this project for generations.
Straight out of a Dan Brown novel.
Like passed down from grandparent to grandchild,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
It is.
That's why.
Mantell says that most scientists at CERN are totally oblivious.
Right.
Just doing their regular research.
Right.
The family is off doing their interdimensional experiments in the basement or something.
It's hard to imagine something that big staying secret for so long.
I know.
You'd think someone would have spilled the beans by now.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, let's play along with Mantell's story for a minute.
Okay.
What actually happened in January 2014 that made him decide to blow the whistle?
He takes us to January 15th,
Okay.
a pretty normal day at CERN.
Okay.
They have a couple of successful particle collisions,
Mm-hmm.
and then he gets this cryptic message on his badge. Living room.
Wait, living room?
Yeah.
Like where they have the comfy chairs and do their knitting?
Right.
It seems a little odd for a top secret science project to be using like casual code names like that.
It does.
Okay.
But Mantell claims that he and another family member,
Okay.
Dr. Celine Diord,
Okay.
understood exactly what it meant.
Okay.
They went to the living room, which turned out to be just a regular boardroom,
Okay.
and they met with the family,
Okay.
led by someone Mantell refers to as father.
A father.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about scientists, not some kind of religious order.
Right.
Who is this father character?
Well, father is Dr. Sandra O'Reilly,
Okay.
a young physicist who apparently inherited the leadership role in the family.
Okay.
And she's the one who reveals the plan. They're going to attempt a particle collision at 40 TeV.
Okay, I'm guessing 40 TV is a lot,
It is.
but I need a little context here.
Yeah.
What exactly does that mean, and why is it such a big deal?
TeV stands for tera-electron volts,
Okay.
which is a measure of energy.
Right.
40 TeV is an incredibly high energy level for a particle accelerator.
Okay.
To put it in perspective, the LHC usually operates at around 13 TeV.
So they're really cranking things up.
Yes.
But why? What's so special about 40 TV?
Well, according to Mantell, the family believes that 40 TeV was the energy threshold needed to create a stable doorway to another dimension.
Whoa, so they're basically playing with forces they barely understand, hoping to rip a hole in reality?
Yeah.
That's a little reckless, to say the least.
It is, and Mantell backs that up.
Okay.
He says that other scientists in the family were expressing serious concerns about the stability of the LHC at that energy level and warning about the unknown consequences of actually opening a portal.
It's like a horror movie in the making.
Hmm.
You have these scientists pushing the limits of what's possible, ignoring warnings from their own colleagues.
Yeah.
And who knows what's waiting on the other side of that doorway.
Right.
So what happened next?
Well,
Did they actually go through with the 4D TV collision?
they did, and that's where things get really strange.
Okay.
Mantell describes these particle beams racing around the LHC, approaching the speed of light.
Mm-hmm.
Then at 40 TV, the room starts heating up, even though the core temperature of the machine remains stable.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this blinding white light.
Okay, I'm getting goosebumps just listening to you describe this.
Yeah.
What happened after the light faded?
After the light, there's darkness and then a screen.
Okay.
When they can see again, they find Dr. O'Reilly's belongings still sitting in her chair.
Oh, wow.
But she's completely gone.
Wow, that's just wow.
Vanished without a trace.
Did she get transported to another dimension?
It's a
Did the energy disintegrate her?
if a
Or
quest.
did they unleash? Yeah, I need to hear what happens next. This is incredible.
That's where part 1 of Dr. Mantell's recording ends,
Oh, man.
leaving us hanging on a major cliffhanger.
Come on.
I know.
All right, well, we're going to have to wait until next time to find out
We are.
what happens next.
Yes.
Okay, so we left off with Dr. O'Reilly father vanishing into thin air after this insane 4D TV collision.
Right.
I'm dying to know what happens next.
Well, the ending of part 1 is definitely a hard stopper.
Yeah.
And Mantell doesn't let up on the suspense in part 2.
Oh, okay.
The recording picks up with him describing the immediate aftermath of the experiment.
I bet there was total chaos.
You would think.
I mean, their leader just disappears. They've possibly ripped open a hole in space-time.
Right, you'd think so.
Yeah.
But Mantell paints a very different picture.
Okay.
He says there was this eerie calm,
Really?
almost like everyone was in shock.
Huh.
They searched for Dr. O'Reilly,
Right.
but there was no sign of her, no trace of where she might have gone.
That's so creepy. It's like she just ceased to exist. I know. Did they shut down the LHC, call in the authorities?
Mantell doesn't go into detail about the immediate response,
Okay.
but he does say that the family went into full lockdown mode.
Okay.
They isolated the living room, sealed off the area where the experiment took place,
Mm-hmm.
and started reviewing all the data from the collision.
So I guess they were trying to figure out what went wrong, or
Uh-huh.
maybe where Dr. O'Reilly ended up.
Yeah, did they find anything in the data?
Yeah.
Mantell doesn't say.
Okay.
But he does mention that the atmosphere within the family became incredibly tense.
Oh, really?
There was paranoia, finger-pointing fear.
Wow.
He says some people were convinced that they had opened a door to something dangerous,
Right.
something that might now be able to come through to our side.
Okay, now we're getting into some serious sci-fi horror territory.
Right.
What about Mantell?
I-
What was his reaction?
He was terrified, which is understandable,
Yeah.
but he was also determined to figure out what happened to Dr. O'Reilly
Mm-hmm.
and what the consequences of the experiment might be.
Okay.
He started doing his own research,
Oh, wow.
digging deeper into the family's archives.
So he went full rogue,
He did.
risking his career, his reputation, maybe even his life.
Yeah.
To get to the bottom of this, that takes guts.
It does, and it suggests that he truly believed there was something much bigger at stake than just one missing physicist.
Right.
Yeah.
You mentioned the family's archives.
Yes,
Did Mantell find anything interesting there?
he does mention finding some disturbing documents,
Okay.
but he's vague about the details.
Okay.
He talks about early experiments, failed attempts at interdimensional travel,
Mm-hmm.
and cryptic references to some kind of incident that happened in the past,
Uh-huh.
something that the family's been trying to cover up ever since.
Sounds like there are layers upon layers of secrets here.
There are,
And it makes you wonder if the family is so powerful and secretive.
right?
How was Mantell able to access their archives without getting caught?
That's a good question, and one that Mantell doesn't really answer.
Okay.
But it's clear that he was taking a huge risk by going behind their backs.
Right.
And that risk becomes even more apparent in the final part of part 2.
What happens? Does he get caught snooping around?
He doesn't say,
Okay.
but he describes this growing sense of unease,
Okay.
this feeling that he's being watched,
Mm-hmm.
followed.
Mm.
He starts receiving anonymous threats, warnings to stop digging into things he shouldn't.
Ooh, that sends chills down my spine. So it sounds like the family knows what he's up to.
It seems that way, and towards the end of part 2, the tone of the recording shifts dramatically.
Really?
Mantell sounds panicked, paranoid.
Okay, what's he saying? Does he reveal what he found in the archives?
He starts talking in riddles
Okay.
about hidden truths,
Okay.
about something coming, about the need to prepare,
Mm-hmm.
and then he utters this cryptic line, "They're not what they seemed they never were."
Is he talking about the family? Does he know something about their true nature, their real agenda?
That's the big question, and it's one that hangs over the entire rest of the recording.
Right.
And just when you think he's about to reveal something, the recording cuts out abruptly.
Oh, no. That's so frustrating.
It is.
We're left with more questions than answers.
We are.
Does the recording pick up again?
It does. Part 3 begins with the recording resuming.
Okay.
But Mantell's voice is different. It's strained, desperate,
Uh-oh.
and he delivers a chilling warning. It's begun. The terror is here.
Okay, now I really need to hear what happens next. This is getting intense. Okay, that cliffhanger ending of part 2 has me, like, seriously freaked out.
Yeah,
Mantel's warning about the terror being here.
right.
It's
Yeah.
super chilling. What does he even mean by that?
Part 3 picks up with Mantel's voice, but something's definitely changed.
Oh, okay.
It's not just fear. It's like he's seen something that's just totally shaken his understanding of reality.
Okay, so spill it. What did Mantel see? Did the family try to silence him? What about Dr. O'Reilly? Is she still out there in another dimension?
Well, he doesn't give us easy answers.
Okay.
He launches into this rambling, almost poetic monologue about how the family has been deceived,
Mm-hmm.
how they've been playing with forces they don't truly understand.
Playing with forces they don't understand. It sounds familiar.
Yeah,
It's like the whole 4D TV collision all over again,
exactly.
on a much grander scale.
Mantell keeps repeating that the family thought they were in control,
Right,
thought they were the masters of the Book of Universes,
right.
but they were wrong. They were blind to the true nature of what they were dealing with.
Okay, but what is the true nature of what they were dealing with? Is he
Uh,
talking about another dimension?
Wow.
Alien beings? Some kind of interdimensional entity?
He drops some hints,
Okay.
but it's all very cryptic. He talks about a force that exists between the pages of the Book of Universes,
Okay.
a force that feeds on curiosity, on ambition, on the desire to unlock the secrets of the cosmos.
That sounds almost Lovecraftian, like some ancient, unknowable entity lurking on the fringes of reality.
Right.
But what does this entity have to do with the tarot Mantel keeps warning about?
He claims that this entity has been influencing the family for generations,
Really?
subtly guiding their research, pushing them towards the 40 TV threshold.
So the whole interdimensional travel project wasn't even their idea.
That's what Mantell suggests.
They were just pawns in some cosmic game they didn't even know they were playing.
And he believes that by opening the door at 40 TV, they didn't just unleash something from another dimension.
Right.
They invited something in, something that's now loose in our world.
Okay, now I'm really starting to get freaked out.
Yeah.
But what does this terror actually look like?
Right.
What does this entity do?
Mantell doesn't give us a clear picture.
Okay.
He talks about strange phenomena, distortions in reality, people disappearing, memories fading.
Mm-hmm.
It's all very unsettling and ambiguous.
It sounds like a slow burn horror film.
Right.
Where the real terror comes from what you don't see, what you can't quite grasp. But hold on, if this entity is so powerful and manipulative, why even bother with the family?
Right.
Why not just force its way into our world directly?
That's a question Mantell grapples with in the recording.
Okay.
He theorizes that this entity can't directly interact with our reality, that it needs willing participants, conduits, to bridge the gap between dimensions.
So the family, with their ambition and their experiments, unwittingly provided the key that unlocked the door.
That's Mantell's chilling conclusion, and he believes this is just the beginning.
Uh-oh.
He says this entity is testing the waters, learning about our world, preparing for something far worse.
So what happens next? Does Mantel have a plan? Does he know how to stop this entity?
He doesn't offer any solutions, no clear answers,
Okay.
but he does leave us with a final haunting message.
Okay, what's his parting thought?
He says the door is open. It can't be closed. We can only choose what we let through.
Whoa, that's heavy. It's like he's saying we have to learn to coexist with this entity, that we have to be careful about what desires, what ambitions we let guide our actions.
It's a thought-provoking ending, for sure.
Yeah.
Mantell's story, whether true or not, leaves us with a sense of unease, a realization that there might be forces at play in the universe far beyond our comprehension.
And it makes you wonder, is this just a wild tale, a cautionary sci-fi narrative?
Right.
Or is there something more to it? Are there truly doors out there waiting to be opened?
Yeah,
And are we ready for what might be on the other side?
that's a great question.
Well, I think we've done a pretty good job of unpacking Mantel's story and exploring its implications.
We have.
You know, we've covered a lot of ground, from theoretical physics to secret societies to like chilling cosmic horror.
We have. It's been quite a journey.
It has. And now it's over to you, dear listener. What do you make of Dr. Mantel's story? Do you think there's any truth to it? What do you think it means for us, for our future? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the mysteries of CERN alternate dimensions and the terrors that might lurk beyond our reality.